Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at more revenge stories. Yeah, let's just get right into the video. Context. My mother-in-law hated me from the moment we met. I moved in with her son and had a baby without getting married, and she truly believed I was the devil incarnate, sent to draw her baby boy into the depths of hell. There followed years of petty microaggressions, a constant barrage of manipulation and guilt tripping, and doing things like offering to watch the kids, then pulling out an half hour before, or buying the kids a puppy when we expressly said no, and then blaming us when she had to take the poor thing back. She pushed over my motorbike, turned up at my work, tried to rearrange the furniture in our house, and constantly talked about God and Jesus in front of the kids and told them they were going to hell because they weren't baptized. I went VLC and things were quiet for a while. What does VLC mean? What? Am I too old? I never cared about getting married. I felt weddings were a waste of money. I'd rather have a boat or a new motorbike, but it was important to hubby, so I agreed, on the condition that it was not a church wedding. Apart from the generally problematic nature of the church, I experienced religious trauma growing up and I wasn't prepared to compromise. Hubby agreed and we started planning. 2 days after we announced our engagement, to much wailing, gnashing of teeth, and general dismay, a priest arrived on our doorstep. He had been sent by mother-in-law to schedule a date for our wedding and book us in for the premarital counseling. I was very nice to him. After all, my issue was with the institution, not this poor guy, and thanked him for coming and told him we wouldn't be requiring any Catholic services for the wedding. He looked sad and expressed he was a bit nervous to let mother-in-law know. I offered him coffee and sympathy, and that was the start of an unlikely friendship. I was fairly annoyed by this stunt. I talked to my hubby, who at the time was so far in the fog that he couldn't see a hand in front of his face. He didn't see the big deal and asked me to just let it go. I thought about it for a day and then told him no, we had to address this immediately or it would escalate. I understand that he loved his mum and sisters, but that their obvious contempt for me was a problem. I don't like ultimatums, but by this point I've been putting up with it for 6 years. I laid it out, we address it now or no wedding. It went about as you'd expect. We visited and hubby tried to talk to her about how inappropriate her actions were. She screamed at him and cried, and then his sisters started on us both. Standing there watching my hubby's heartbreak, my filter broke. I told them to stop, very loudly. Then I told them they were behaving like toddlers, that I was embarrassed by the antics and to consider this their first and only warning. If they tried anything like that again or treated us with anything other than kindness and respect, not only would I cancel the wedding, I would tell the priest and all their friends about the disgusting behavior. If they wanted to be a part of the planning, I would welcome their participation, but that hubby and I had the final say. Mother-in-law tried to speak, but I shushed her. Hubby was distraught and I felt bad for him, but we got into couples counseling and things got better. Meanwhile, mother-in-law and the sister-in-law seemed to have taken things on board, although I was banned from the house because I was scary. Wow. Fast forward about 12 months, time for dress shopping. I hated the idea of a wedding dress. I hate pale colors. I hate dressing up. I hate dresses. Just everything about the idea made me want to fake a coma to get out of it. But I'd promised my very own mum and brother that we could do this together. So mum, mother-in-law, 3 of my sister-in-laws, brother, and his wife all came along with me to marvel at the sight of me in a dress. And it wasn't a bad day. The in-laws behaved and I found a dress that I didn't hate as much as the others. I paid for it and we left. The next day, I got a call from the shop. Mother-in-law and the sister-in-laws had ordered themselves the exact same dress as me. I told hubby and he didn't really believe it. I laughed about it for a bit, went back to the shop and ordered a new dress. This one was dark purple with a black trim. And then I had the idea. I don't have a lot of female friends, but all of my male friends have wives who had wedding dresses, and sometimes they say they feel sad that they spent all the money on a dress they'll never wear again. I talked to hubby and he agreed. So the invitations went out and every person who had ever worn a wedding dress was invited to wear it to our wedding. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law got different invitations that specifically asked that they not wear white. Dress code was stated as whatever you're comfortable in. I wasn't there for the initial confusion that swiftly turned to rage, but my mum and brother gleefully recounted the story later. All 4 of them turned up in their beautiful white dresses with their beautiful makeup and hair and were completely absorbed by the rest of the crowd. They didn't stand out. They looked exactly like everyone else except for my mum and brother's wife, who wore purple like me. They weren't going to ruin my day by upstaging me. My husband, who up to that point really didn't think they would do something so vile, turned to stone that day. They had finally shown the depths that they would sink to, and the last of the fog was swept away. I turned up in the sidecar of a Harley. I did experiment with riding in the dress, but it didn't end so well and the shop had to make a few emergency repairs the week before, and I walked down the aisle to the Imperial March by myself. My brother was my maid of honor and his wife was my hubby's best man. Remember the priest? Well, he wasn't allowed to officiate outside a church as a priest, so he was our MC. This was the icing on the cake, because I saw mother-in-law's face light up when she saw him, until he introduced the marriage celebrant and handed her the microphone. She was filled with rage. She went to speak, but my husband stepped forward and he shushed her, right in front of everyone. It was glorious. She didn't speak to either of us for the rest of the night. She didn't speak to us for nearly a month, and then she called one day to ask to see the kids as if nothing had happened. So I let it go because my husband and I had won. But every now and then I wear the purple dress when I know she'll be at an event because I'm petty like that. Yo, this was so good. Wow. That's amazing. The fact that the mother-in-law and the sister-in-laws thought that they could wear a wedding dress because they wanted to upstage her and be like, ha, look at us, we're wearing the same dress as you don't look that good. But nope. Little did they know everyone was gonna turn up in a wedding dress. That's hilarious, dude. That's actually so good. Thank gosh for the store, the store that told her in advance, oh, your mother-in-law and sister-in-laws are being snakes. Amazing. That was such a good story. That was so satisfying. Sometimes your in-laws just want to ruin everything. It's crazy. Alright, next story. This happened a couple of years ago. I was dating Max for 5 years. We were full on together. We lived together, shared finances, had 2 dogs, etc. My best friend Amy lived 10 minutes away, so we were always with each other. We were pretty much the 3 musketeers. One day I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see my boyfriend in the background of a picture posted to our local bar's page. He was supposed to be at work and I'd never been given a reason not to trust him, so I figured it was an older picture as we go there a couple times a month. But when he got home, he was wearing the same blue button-up and jeans. I had a horrible feeling in my stomach, but I didn't say anything. That night, I went through his phone. Yeah, I know, but I don't care. We've always shared passwords and I never had an issue with using each other's phones. When I checked his messages, I saw a chain with someone named Jack. We didn't know a Jack, so I read through them and my heart just breaks. I've known my best friend since we were in diapers. I know how she texts, but I checked the numbers just to be sure, and yep, they were talking behind my back. Not just talking though, there were pictures and mentions of sexual acts that had happened. I spent the night crying and sending myself all of the screenshots and everything I could find. By morning, I realized that I can't just confront them. I need to prepare, so I set out to put money aside. I tell him our fridge is broken, so I'm using some of our savings to fix it. We need a plumber for this or a handyman for that. All lies, but I needed a reason to pull money out of the account we both had access to. It took me 2 months, but I was able to put enough out to a deposit and pay a couple of months in advance on a new apartment that I found that was closer to work and pet friendly. I was able to slowly move stuff there while he was at work. I told him I was doing some spring cleaning to clear out the clutter. In the meantime, I screwed with the heads and mentioned things about each other that would cause drama, like telling Max that Amy talked about a cute guy from work, or telling Amy that Max mentioned marriage and kids with me. She's infertile due to a childhood illness. The day before I was leaving, I set my plan onto motion. I knew where my best friend went for lunch most days of the week, so I watched and waited. When she arrived, I went in and pretended I didn't want to throttle her for breaking my trust and heart. We sat down and chatted, and I slyly mentioned sex with Max. In their messages, she told him that she didn't want him to sleep with me. Apparently, she'd become quite possessive of my boyfriend. I made comments about how sore I was because we did it rough just like how I like it, how good he was, and you name it, I mentioned it. Her face got redder and redder and it was amazing to watch. I'd seen her react that way before, but I never realized why. She'd always insist on watching late night movies with us or ask us to sleep on a couch instead of going home and be mad when I had to say no, I want to have privacy with my boyfriend. I just thought she was lonely or a little clingy, but I never would have imagined she didn't want to leave because she wanted to make sure we weren't having sex. Later that day, I go home and once again pretend that everything is normal, but I sit down on the couch with him and snuggle up to him while he watches TV. After about 20 minutes, I shadow him and ask him how his day was and blah blah blah. Then I bring up that I ran into Amy at lunch and you would never guess who she was with. I told him how Amy was with Dave, her real life co-worker that has hung out with us multiple times, and how it's so cute that they're dating now. When I say he froze, I don't even think he even breathed. He just sort of muttered, I didn't know she was seeing someone. So I'd tell him all about how I caught them kissing, and after Dave left to go back to work, Amy told me about their amazing sex life. And of course, I had to add in that Dave was the first guy to give her a real O, and how she's always had to fake it with guys before. I've never seen him look so dejected before. That night, I asked that we do a phone-free night, which we do often so that we could be in our own little bubble. I could tell he was a little hesitant, but he turned his phone off and put it in the basket we use it for. We watched a movie and cuddled on the couch, and he stayed as stiff as a board for the majority of it before he relaxed enough to fall asleep on the couch. Once he was out, I grabbed his work phone and sent out a contact list wide email about how I may be in a bad mood for the next couple of weeks because my mistress gave me the clap. Then I changed the passcode on it and turned it off. I knew that he wouldn't turn it on until he got to his work site that was 40 minutes away. As soon as he was out the door, I immediately packed my bags, important papers and the dogs, and left. I also unscrewed most light bulbs, took the batteries out of the remote, took the router plug in so he wouldn't have Wi-Fi, and cranked the AC up to 80 Fahrenheit degrees. When I went to my new place, I blocked them both. Then I posted screenshots to my Facebook and let everyone know what horrible people they were. Wow, amazing. She got her revenge. She screwed with her heads. Well, I just can't believe that people would actually do this, and how common this is, you know, best friends getting with their bestie's partner. Like, seriously? You can't find your own person? There are so many people in the world, dude. You can't find another person that you would like, but you'd go for your best friend's partner. Obviously, it's also the best friend's partner's fault for not saying no and going along with it, and also cheating, right? Basically, the two of them suck. But seriously, this whole story was wild, and I just feel so bad for this girl. The fact that your partner can do this to you, especially with your best friend, really? The two people that you trust the most in the entire world. I mean, excluding your family, but like, you know what I mean? Stories like this just make me mad. I just don't get it. You would just tuck away something so special for a little fling. And then, you know, later on, the both of them are not going to trust each other because they know, oh, well, you cheated on her to be with me, so who are you talking to now? It's going to be like that. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!